Abstinence without recovery is more painful than using.
Clients, when they present, have been daily drug users for a long time. They've lost all capacity to function without drugs. So when we withdraw the drugs from them in a safe environment through a detox process, often they become emotionally very unstable and they need to be supported intensively through that process so they can actually function without drugs.
Like, my childhood was great. I grew up on a farm. I've got 5 brothers and 1 sister. Mum and dad, like, really loving European background family. I was 11 years old. Started smoking pot and stuff, hanging out down the back. We started using magnetic mushrooms and you know, it just escalated from there. Just got worse and worse and more and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, as a little girl, she was just quite normal, like any other little girl. The changes we've probably seen in later life when she was sort of, a teenager and got quite wild and angry at times, and really didn't know what was going on. Started to miss a lot of school. Just, things weren't right. There was something not quite right.
When I was 27, 28, when I started really getting into a lot of ice, that became my only thing, was ice and G by then. And then I started getting involved with a lot of cooks and a lot of, really shady people. When my partner had died, people would come to my house and stand over me with guns and knives and hold me at knife point, gunpoint, whatever, and for money or drugs or whatever they wanted, because my partner wasn't there anymore and I was a girl, like a little girl in a big man's world, I attempted suicide. I don't know what happened, but I got found by the police and I woke up, that night somewhere in hospital.
Our women's program in Bacchus Marsh, which is for women, staffed by women, and the results have been exceptional.
You might get really stressed about something that isn't probably all that stressful, and it's really good to recognise that this might happen for a day or two and then it'll pass. Has anyone had experience of that? Yeah.
Here at the Hated Women's Retreat, we have a range of activities and groups that the women participate in. So we have art therapy, acupuncture, yoga, and it's really about demonstrating that, and the gym, of course, which is about our physical health. It's about demonstrating that recovery and addiction is it's not just about the drugs, and recovery is more than about stopping using, it's learning how to stay stopped.
Like, my first experience when I walked in, I was like, wow, like I didn't know rehab was available. Like, I didn't know anything was available. I didn't even know what a detox was. Like, I just thought I was a drug addict and I was always going to be a drug addict, and that was the end of it. All I remember is just someone showing me what to do and where to go, and I just followed like a sheep until my brain could catch up and start actually functioning like human.
We find that the women who come here often are very, very fragile and quite vulnerable. Not all women, but a lot of women who have a history of substance abuse also have a history of trauma. And we find that just being in a community of other women and learning how to connect, sometimes for the first time with other women, is a really safe and a really healing environment for our clients. And it's not that the longer you stay, the better off you'll be. It has to be the right length of stay. And so the research really tells us that 90 days is pretty much a good time for the brain to start to heal, for new habits to start to develop, and for women and any individuals start to feel a bit stronger within themselves. And then after 90 days here, we recommend that people transition into the transitional housing program.
During the treatment episode, families are required to participate in education and therapeutic sessions to bring them along the journey. And the reason we do that is because research shows that positive outcomes are increased when families are involved.
Well, the family group was good because you weren't alone. There was other people in the same situation. That was quite good for us again. and then to learn more about the disease.
Like, families have so much to offer, and I think that when a client completes their time here and the families are able to say, I'm really proud of you, I'm so proud of the changes that you've made, you just see people's hearts swell with pride, and it's a very, very healing moment for that individual and for the family.
We're really selective about the staff we employ at the clinic. It's only a very small pool of people that we can choose from, and that's addiction professionals that have relevant qualifications for their area, but also those individuals must have personal experience having recovered from addiction themselves. We believe that the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is unparalleled. So that immediate connection and kinship and fellowship that an addict in active addiction sees and feels when someone who's been there, done that, is helping them through their own pain is unparalleled.
Without the support of people that have experience in addiction, like, you know, the people that could relate to me and that knew what I was talking about and knew the pain that I was feeling, not just something they'd read out of a textbook, was like a massive thing for me. You know, like that you could feel that they understood you.
We couldn't talk through it all. There's no way we could get it to go anywhere to get any help. So finally we got into somebody that could sort of talk her language.
They'd been where I was, and that meant everything to me.
When people come here, it is important to realise that it is hard work, maybe some of the hardest work that they've ever done, and not to frighten people, but this is really a life-changing experience, and we're not mucking around here. This is life or death, and so people really need to be prepared that they're going to have to do some hard work.
Like, eventually, somewhere along that line, I started to enjoy recovery, and I started to get benefits, and all that crazy violence and all that stuff just started to disappear out of my life. And, you know, all that time I thought it was the people I associated with and not the drugs. But as soon as I took the drugs out of my life, like, them people went away with it.
One of the most enjoyable things to see is the recovery of the family, because every family arrives here extremely stressed, full of fear, full of anger, and a sense of loss that their loved one has been suffering from addiction, is now going into rehab. Drug rehabilitation is not about drugs. It's about learning to live without drugs. It's about finding a new happiness and a new life that we never thought was possible while we were on drugs.
It's definitely saved my life, and my family. You know, they were really broken too. I can't even explain. I can't even begin to explain what it's like. It's magical, you know, like, to have their support.
So the difference there is it's a complete turnaround, where now she's got a job, you know, looking after herself, looking after her daughter. You know, like I said, now it's great. We can relax. You know, granddaughter's back, and it's great.
The way I think and believe today, compared to the way I thought and believed 3 years ago, is like two different lives. Two totally different people. It's amazing. Like, it's really hard. It's really confronting. It's life-changing.